Hi everyone, I'm Christy and I'm here to share with you the basics of my new pattern, Diamond Sky, that I created for the fabric collection LUSH. LUSH is a fabric collection that I designed during my time creating and developing for the fabric brand Boundless. This is a bright and colorful collection inspired by fun jungle motifs in a more modern artistic style. It has a lot of jungle animals and bright flowers and leaves. I love this collection because it has bright bohemian vibes, so it's great to use for those more trendy people in your life, or if you're just feeling a bit more of the fun, boho, wanderlusty spirit. It's an amazing collection that I'm so happy has finally made it into the hands of wonderful sewists and quilters. Diamond Sky is a confident beginner pattern that uses strip piecing and half square triangle blocks to create a radiating diamond pattern throughout the quilt. This is a square throw size quilt. It's one of my favorite sizes for a smaller quilt because it's the best to use on a couch or as a yoga blanket if that's your thing. It's a pretty simple pattern, and as long as you know the quilting basics, you'll be able to breeze right through. And a special thanks to Quilting Cat Crafts for reaching out to me to help create a pattern for this special collection. I hope you have a fun time sewing, and please be sure to share with me your projects and your quilts in my Facebook group, A Different Kind of Quilter. And please be sure to subscribe here and follow on Facebook and Instagram. Links are below. Thank you again for purchasing your pattern, and I truly can't wait to see your projects. Designing fabric is only as much fun as what people create with it. If you've purchased the kit from Quilting Cat Crafts, this is what you'll receive. All fabric packaged in your nice little kit bag, which I love to keep and use as project bags, starting with your printed pattern, written and designed by me, cheetah print in sapphire, Amazon print in mint, Amazon print in coral, tiger print in sapphire, jungle print in sapphire. As a note, all of these print and color names are in your pattern as I've called them out here. iCat mint, iCat sky, Franz fuchsia, background fabric in leopard white, and binding fabric in leopard teal. Please keep in mind, you will have extra fabric for a bonus project, but very little room for error with the background fabric, so watch your cutting on the leopard white. No need to mention my little faux pas in cutting my background fabric during the making of this quilt. I'm now going to show you the basics of block 1 using fabrics Amazon Mint and iCat Mint. When I prep for cutting, I usually follow the manufacturer fold and just press the creases out. I love this manufacturer and they do a really great job with their cutting and folding, so I rely on that a little bit. But pressing everything out minus the fold that divides the width of fabric. Once I feel like it's nice and smooth, I'll trim my straight edge. And if you need more guidance on this, see some other videos on my fabric prep. Boundless has always recommended not pre-washing your fabrics, so just hop right in. Your fabric shrinkage is similar to that of your batting, so you won't have any problems as long as you are consistent in not pre-washing other materials used in your quilt. If you're looking for backing to coordinate with your quilt top, Quilting Cat Crafts also offers yardage from LUSH. I'm planning on using the Amazon print in coral for my backing. I have sort of a weird thing where I like to feel like I use the fabrics from the collection, otherwise it just feels weird and disjointed to me, but probably just because I designed the fabric, so any other fabric would just feel out of place. Occupational hazard, I suppose. But at the end of the day, use whatever inspires you. I've already trimmed this fabric down for ease of showing you, but I begin by making sure my newly trimmed straight edge hasn't moved and it's truly still straight. We begin this pattern by cutting strips along the width of the fabric. So fabric folded selvage to selvage, and again, watching my lovely trimmed straight edge so as to use as a guide. Get your ruler and align to your cut dimensions as noted in the pattern. Check, check, check. And when you feel confident, zoop, cut. I will always label when I cut my fabrics with little stickies, so no matter how organized I think I am, I will never remember what is what. For this pattern, I'm going to label by the width of the fabric strips, and honestly, the little sticky bit doesn't always stay put, so I'm actually going to pin it as well. I'm doing the same thing for the strip size number 2, measuring to noted width as specified, check, 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 and zoop, then labeling.
Please hang up and try again.
Background fabric strip size number 1, measure, check, 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 zoop. Now background fabric strip size number 2, measure, check, 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 zoop. Here I actually use my cutting mat to measure because my ruler isn't wide enough, but if you have a big, long, wide ruler, that would be ideal. I'm actually showing you the cutting for the strip sets used in block 1. So keep in mind that if you're cutting everything all at once rather than for the blocks, you will have some more cutting for the other fabrics needed in the half square triangle blocks. Also, read your cutting instructions carefully. Your background fabric widths are different than your main fabric widths. I may or may not have miscut my background fabrics during my test sew and had a little strip cutting faux pas. Well, all I can say is strips happen. But please check carefully here because, as I mentioned, you have very little room for error in cutting the background fabric. Once you've got these strips cut, I also recommend taking a look at the blocks for the fabric placement and organizing the strips in their blocks, as this pattern is really dependent on the placement of the fabrics and colors. When cutting your half square triangles, same thing here. Prepping your fabric by pressing and trimming a straight edge. I am once again using my cutting mat to measure the width. I am then rotating, trimming off the selvage, rotating the fabric so that my trimmed edge is now my measuring guide. Then, using my cutting mat to subcut my strips into squares, you should finish with 2 large squares. Repeat the same thing here with your background fabric. I'm now getting ready to sew my strip sets. I'm aligning my main fabric to my background fabric as specified in the pattern. Make sure to get your correct width of strips together, so read the instructions carefully so as to avoid any unnecessary seam ripping. While it's not really necessary to pin your strips for sewing, it can be helpful to take a little extra minute and just get everything aligned so you can sew faster. I, once again, may or may not have had a strip sewing faux pas where I didn't catch the bottom strip. Strips happen. Then we get ready to sew. Sew, sew, sew. Great thing about strip sets is sewing goes super fast. If you pinned, I recommend making sure to pull your pins as you go so as to avoid broken and flying needles. Once you're done, press, press, press. Press the background fabric towards the darker fabric for a couple of reasons. 1, you won't see the seam allowances well behind the darker fabric, and 2, the background fabric in this collection is stiffer and wants to lay as flat as possible. This is due to the thicker specialty ink in order to print white on white. Sew your second strip set, sew, 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 press, press, press. Combine your strip sets as shown in the pattern. Sew, 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 press, press, press. Once you've got your strip sets sewn, we are now going to cut them down to create our blocks. In the pattern, I've noted to cut the strips. This is primarily for ease of handling of the fabric, particularly if you have a smaller sewing space. Sometimes it can be obnoxious working with an entire width of fabric strip set, but if you've got the space, it's okay to jump right in trimming out the blocks. Whether you've cut down the strips or not, we're going to trim down to create the blocks. With your strips running vertically, get your square or 90-degree ruler, and using the center seam as a guide. The pattern was designed to make this your guide so that it'd be super clear. Line up your center mark along that seam, making sure that the corner is fully on the fabric, and check, check, check. Watch those corners. Make sure the correct edge of the ruler is lining up to the corners so that you finish with a nice square block. No mitered corners here. Repeat. One strip set will provide 2 blocks. And again, save those scraps for the bonus project. We're now going to do our half square triangle blocks. Get 1 large square of your background fabric and 1 large square of your colorful fabric. Stack on top with edges perfectly aligned. As perfect as you can, I mean. Unless you're an alien, I don't think it will be perfect. I'm using a weight to help keep my fabric in place. I use weights a lot. It's one of my favorite tools for any sewing project. Once you've got everything aligned and pinned, or not pinned, draw your center mark down the center corner to corner. I love this little chalk roller because I can see it on just about any fabric and it really just blows away when you're done. Stays long enough for me to sew and cut and leaves no trace once it's been brushed off. But feel free to use your favorite marking tool, as this is the wrong side of the fabric and is going to be cut and sewn into the seams. I'm now pinning at the top and bottom, again, just to make sure nothing moves during my marking and sewing. Similarly, some people forego the pinning and that's okay, but me, I pin. I like to take a moment to just make sure it's nice and tidy. I guess it's something that was really emphasized while I was in design school. They insisted on pinning. While I know as we get better, it becomes less needed, the truth is even in production sewing, they use guides. So I feel like I'd rather pin as my guide. Head to your machine and sew 1/4 inch on both sides of your center mark. For some reason, my brain always finds this a little weird, as my natural tendency is to want to sew on my mark, but do make sure to sew on both sides. Sew, sew, sew. Then head back to your cutting mat. Check, check, check. Zoop. Cut right down along your center mark. And voila! 2 lovely half square triangle blocks. Press, press, press. Once again, I recommend pressing the white towards your colorful fabric because it's white and the fabric wants to lay as flat as possible due to that thick ink. From there, you just repeat, repeat, repeat until you've got all your fabric combinations for your strip set blocks and your half square triangle blocks. Then you're ready to assemble. I recommend sewing row by row and then joining each row from top to bottom. Finish your quilt by sandwiching and binding in your favorite techniques. I'm pretty simple, but check out some of the other videos to see how I finish my quilts. Thanks for watching, and if you're curious about some of the blunders that occurred during this process, keep watching. And please be sure to subscribe, like, and share with all your friends. Thank you so much. Hey, good morning everyone. I'm here with James. Check it out. We're on our way to go do a test sew on the new pattern Diamond Sky. It's, not quite 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning. James and I have been up since 5:30. And as you can see, real life story. Shirt is on inside out. I have socks with my sandals, and Yep, I still got a scrunchie in my tail. So, you know, real life stories of trying to get all this stuff done. So, here we go. All right, so we just finished filming our cutting section of Diamond Sky pattern. As you can see, I still look atrocious. Did manage to fix the shirt, but we did finish our cutting and everything else. So, oh, there's the fabric. Here we are. And a few little casualties over here. I think we got some raisins on the ground, but you know, I think overall James did pretty good. He managed to keep himself entertained with the cashews and raisins. And yeah, oh, as he says right now, go, 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 go. Yeah, and so behind the scenes, real life quilting. It's a disaster, it's a mess, and while we try to make it look pretty, right now it is atrocious. So hopefully we can do some edits and make it look really good later. But all right. Hey everybody, day 2 of our test sew, and yes, we look atrocious, but again, managed to at least get my clothes on today, and James is with grandma, so we can actually get a lot done. What a win. So look at, we got all our blocks done, everything ready. So now we're just getting ready to do some assembly and our binding, and we'll do some quilting, and we'll have it all done. All right, check in later. Hi everyone, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you love Diamond Sky. I hope you love LUSH. I hope you love Quilting Cat Crafts. I just want to thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you can get through your quilt. If you're having any problems at all, please reach out. We'll help get you through it. I always say that quilting is for you. It's for the joy of it, not the stress of it. So let's get you through your pattern, and hopefully it's just a fun, good time being able to do something tangible with your hands, get away from the computer a little bit, and just make something beautiful. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much. I hope you love the fabric. I worked really hard on all the fabrics that I did for Boundless. It was such a great time, and I really love designing fabric. Boundless was truly what taught me how to create quilt collections, and honestly now I can't imagine doing anything else in the entire world. So now I'm kind of moving on doing my own fabric designing under the name Painte & Co. And so if you want to go, please check out my new fabric collections that I've designed and having manufactured actually with the same mill that did LUSH. So if you like LUSH and any of that stuff, please go check out my site, see if there's anything that inspires you that you'd want to do, and I hope to see you there. Please like and subscribe. Please go check out our Facebook group, Different Kind of Quilter, and check us out on our Facebook group and Instagram. Thanks so much. Have a wonderful time quilting, and again, quilting is for the joy of it, not the stress of it, so make sure you love what you're doing. Thank you.